Good evening, everyone. So, today in this video, we are gonna understand the prerequisite for industrial revolution. Like, in general terms, we perceive industrial revolution as the transformation from, let's say, the man force towards machine-made goods. Okay, this is the gist of industrial revolution. That from the second half of 18th century, let's take 1750s or to 60s, up to 1830s in England primarily, the something happened that transformed the previous production system into something more machinery, industrial based, factory based system. This is the main industrial revolution. But uh, for the social and other economic factors which were responsible for this change, we need to understand those things very precisely, so that we can compare the process of industrialization in what happened in England and with other parts of the continent. So for a general term, we perceive this timeline here to here, but some historians, they have also argued about the timelines, like historians such as T.S. Aston. So the particular group from which he belongs to, they have emphasized the earlier terms like 1750s, 1760s, this time period, and the other group such as like um, I forget the name. Yeah, Hobsbawm. They have enforced that they have reinforced that the timeline was much later, like from 1780s, and which actually got matured in 1830s only. Like in this period, in this timeline, people actually started to realize the change for industrial revolution. And because this whole process took almost a decade, or not a decade, a century actually. So is it correct to say it as a revolution? Because we know the definition of the revolution is that you have to make a sudden change, a rapid change, and that cause that holds enormous effect on society or something else. But for the industrial revolution, although yes, the change that it caused was enormous, but the time period we can see is 1750s to 1830s, and actually onwards it's the maturation period. Then we got to second industrial revolution, third industrial revolutions, and all the things, and after that industrial revolution spread all over the Europe. So it's like a never ending process. So is it correct to say it a revolution, or we should like there are also a group of historians who said it as industrial evolution. So by the way, um, we should focus on the prerequisite, means the condition that led to the industrial revolution, that why people were working in fields, suddenly they shifted to machines, and they completely transformed the whole production system. Like what is the what were the conditions and the reasons behind the change. So we will start from 16, let's say mid six not mid, but afterwards, after 1650s, few changes happened. The first one was the Glorious Revolution. The second thing was the enclosure movement. Then in 1750s onwards, we see some technological inventions like the spinning jenny on 1764. So see, in 1764 they were inventing machines for their production system, and 1764 in India we were still fighting medieval wars. This was I think the year of the Battle of Buxar. So then the patent system also starts, and after that in 1760, 1777, 1776, we got Adam Smith. he wrote The Wealth of Nation. You must have heard of that, the nation. That basically, the this book, Wealth of Nation, provides the ideological justification for the capitalism. And his way of capitalism was something we known as invisible hand. Means just leave whatever is in process, don't interfere, it will automatically sort out by itself. So it focuses more on minimal government intervention into process. So what happens now, if government interferes less, the more privatization would happen. And privatization means directly to accumulation of wealth. Now, accumulation of wealth, and we also see the time period here, you know, Protestantism was also a factor. So because of Protestantism, more particularly the Calvinism, they talked about something like predestination and some other also principles. They mainly advocate against the consumption of wealth. So the wealth which is being generated by the factory owners, that they should not use the wealth for their own personal consumption, for luxurious livings. Rather, they should reinvest it into the system. So the money again gets back into the whole system. And what happens after that, that the whole market got saturated. Like, you have a lot of money and you don't have anything to invest anymore. So now what you will do, you will go for civilizing mission. Civilizing mission is the ideology, the imperial ideology that the colonizers took as a justification to make their rule more justificable, more acceptable in the colonies. So these include the transportation, education, all the other things in the colonies. This is actually the telegraph, railway, canals, all the things, and education we know to create laborers for to work in the industries or work for them actually. So you can see how the things are interrelated with each other. Now we'll go into another section where you will see that as I told about here, the enclosure movement, that was mainly the privatization of land. Okay, so lands become privatized. So what will happen of all the workers, all the peasants who used to work there, they will move towards cities. Now workers are going towards cities. So the enclosure movement actually was a push factor, and in cities we will see the rise of factories, or mainly the factory system. That was a pull factor. So now you get more workers in cities, that will lead to urbanization. And then the urbanization, there's urbanization is happening. And but one thing, as now you see there are a lot of factories here. Factories means more production and less labor. So there are more people but less job for them. Now what will happen, they will look for another jobs like minings. Some will become slaves, some will move to another colonies. So, and in mining, they will work with women and children. Okay, so that's how all the social scenario went on. And because of this thing, like there now this whole bunch of people here, people here. And we also have got the owners of the factories and all the rich people who accumulates the wealth. So we got two section, the urban bourgeoisie, and the urban proletariat. These people will later, like during 1850s and later, they will form the Chartist movement. We'll see later on, but this is the whole social scenario, and I tried to, interlink all the different things. And but Yeah, I forgot one thing. Like, as I talk about the saturation of market, like how all the money they were getting, they got it from a slave trade. Okay, the slave trade was mainly, let's see, this is the Northern America, this is, let's say, Southern America, and here's we got